Alright, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to UTM today. My name is Advaita, and we'll be leading a session together. Um, yeah, so if you don't know me yet, I might be a new face for many of you. But would we like to all start by introducing ourselves, where we're from, and what we're excited for today. So, Hare Krishna, my name is Advaita. I'm from ISKCON in Silicon Valley, and I am very excited to keep reading Prabhupada Lilamrita today. Uh, Arav, would you like to go?
Hey Krishna, I'm Arav. I'm 14 years old. I'm from ISKCON Atlanta, and I'm excited to associate with devotees with you, champ.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Haridas?
Hey Krishna, my name is Haridas and I'm also from ISKCON Atlanta. I'm 12 years old and I'm excited to read Bhagavad Gita today.
Nice. Then we will read some Bhagavad Gita. I was wondering what shlokas we should do. We'll read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Um, Either Bhaktanitai or Maithili, if anyone would like to just introduce themselves and let us know what they're excited for today.
Okay, my name is Nitai and I'm 7 years old and I'm excited for the sloka reciting.
Okay, good. Nice. And Maithili? I don't know if Maithili. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong.
Hare Krishna. My name is Maithili. I'm 13 years old, and I'm really excited to read the Gita.
All right, perfect. Let's start off with a prayer. I will copy paste the format for how to give a prayer, and how it works is we'll just have someone nominate someone to give a prayer. Here, it's in the chat. Would anyone like to nominate anyone to start our session off with a prayer today? Okay, well, then I nominate Nitai, and we just need someone to second that nomination so we can confirm it. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Haribo. So, Nitai, if you're comfortable giving a prayer today for us, it would just be, dear anyone, dear Lord, if you so desire, give us a prayer to get us started, to encourage us today, and then end with, please consider our humble request. Whenever you're
Shri Prabhupada, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Dhanita, if you so desire, please make UTM successful. Thank you for considering my request.
Haribo, I agree with that. I hope today's UTM is a great success. And all right, so today we will start off with reading a chapter of Bhagavad Gita together. We'll read the Sanskrit and then the translations. Does anyone have any chapter? Sorry, I wasn't checking the chat earlier, but you can use the chat as well. Anyone have any chat? Okay, Haridas, please go.
I think in the chapter a day, I think today's is also 10th chapter from verse 1 to 21.
Okay,
So we could
let's
do
do
that.
it then. Perfect. Yes, sounds great. Thank you for letting me know. All right, I am pulling it up right now. You said chapter 10, right?
Yeah, chapter 10, verse 1 to 21.
Okay, let's do it. I'm gonna share my screen. Can everyone see the verses? Just let me know. All right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do, if there's five of us, let's do maybe four verses each. And let's start with Nitai. Please go ahead.
श्रीभगवानुवाच भूयेव महाबाहो शृणु मे परमं वचः यत्तेऽहं प्रीयमाणाय वक्ष्यामि यत्काम्यया न मे विदुषूरगणः प्रवरं न महर्षय अहमादिर्हि देवानां महर्षीणां च सर्वशः यो मामजमनादिं च वेति लोकमहेश्वरम् असमूढसमर्थ्येषु सर्वपापैर्प्रमुच्यते. Should I read both of them or only one?
You can go ahead and read both.
Okay. पुत्रज्ञानमसम्मोहः क्षमा सत्यं दमः समः सुखं दुःखं भवो भावो भयं च चाभ्यमेव च अहिंसा समता तपोदानं यशो यशः भवन्ति भूतानां मत एव पृथक्
महर्षयः सप्त पूर्वे चत्वारो मनवस्तथा मद्भावा मानसा जाता येषां लोक इमा प्रजाः एतां विभूतिं योगं च मम यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः सौ विकल्पेन योगेन युज्यते नात्र संशयः अहं सर्वस्य प्रभुः मत्तः सर्वं प्रवर्तते इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुद्धा भावः समन्विताः मच्चित्ता मद्गतप्राणा बोधयन्तः परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं ये माम् उपयान्ति ते तेषाम् एवानुखां पार्थम् अहम् अज्ञानजं तमः नश्याम्यात्मभावस्थो ज्ञानदीपेन भास्वता
Arjuna Uvacha.
Okay.
Arjuna Uvacha. Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum Ahasvam Rishaya Sarve Devarshinaradastata Asito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Shaiva Bravishi Me Sarvametadritam Manye Yanmam Vadasi Keshava Nahite Bhagavan Vyaktim Vidurdeva Nadanava स्वयमेवात्मनात्मानं वेत्तत्वं पुरुषोत्तम भूतभावनभूतेश देवदेव जगत्पते वक्तुम् अर्हस्य शेषेण दिव्या ह्यात्मा विभूतया याभिर्विभूतिर्लोकान् इमां स्तं व्यापतिष्ठसि
Um, कथं अहं योगिं त्वां सदा परिचिन्तयान् केषु केषु च भावेषु चिन्त्योऽसि भगवान् मया विस्तरेणात्मनो योगं विभूतिं च जनार्दन भूय प्रथाय तृप्तिर्हि शृण्वतो नास्ति मे मृतम् श्रीभगवानुवाच हन्ता ते कथयिष्यामि दिव्या ह्यआत्मविभूतय प्रधा प्रधा प्रदान यथा कुरु श्रेष्ठ नास्त्यन्तो विस्तर विस्तरास्य मे अहम् आत्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूतास्य शया स्थितः अहम् आदिश्च मध्यंश्च भूतानाम् अन्त एव च
Okay. Akshaj, would you like to do our last verse, verse 21?
Yeah, sure. Adityanamaham Vishnur Jyotisham Amshunam Amshuman Marichir Marutam Asmi Nakshatranamaham Shashi.
Wonderful. Okay. Now we will read through the translations and maybe have a discussion about it afterwards. So maybe in the same order that we went in reading it the first time, or whoever raises their hands, let's do it. All right, please go ahead.
Should I go?
Yeah, sure. And then we'll go, you can go first, and then after that, whatever the raised hand order is, let's do that.
Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, Almighty Armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme Lord of all the worlds, he only undiluted among men is free from all sins. Intelligence, knowledge, freedom from doubt and delusion, forgiveness, truthfulness, control of the senses, control of the mind, happiness and distress, birth, death, fear, fearlessness, nonviolence, equanimity, satisfaction, austerity, charity, fame, and infamy. All these various qualities of living beings are created by me alone.
Akshaj,
This-
you can go.
Okay. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. One who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mine engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this there is no doubt. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thought of my pure devotees dwells in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conserving about.
Perfect, thank you.
To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devada, and Vyasa confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. Oh Krishna, uh, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality."
Thank you.
Indeed, you alone know your Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you, and how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? O Janardana, again please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Yes, I'll tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless."
Thank you. Would anyone like to read the last two translations for the day? Okay, Maitri, please go ahead.
I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of the Marutas, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful chapter. Thank you, Haridas, for pointing out that this is the chapter a day chapter that we should read. And let's talk about it a little bit. If anyone has any reflections that they took away from it, I'll start. I'll just go with one first, and then of course, Haridas, please go ahead after me. Uh, I will go here. I thought it was very interesting to learn that when we're talking about how all the qualities that living beings are created with, uh, it's interesting that I saw that Krishna creates both happiness and distress in his creations, in us. And everything else in this list uh is very interesting. It's like mostly a good thing. We have fear and fearlessness, and we have happiness and distress, and those two things are opposites. We have two pairs of opposites. And I thought it's so special that it reminds us that Krishna really is in control of everything. He creates both the good and the bad. Um, and these are things that we have to control, we have to keep in check, because with all the good, there will always be all the bad in the world and in ourselves. So it gave me a bigger picture understanding of how we're created, and I appreciated that. All right, Haridas, please go ahead.
Okay, so I was going to talk about verse 2 and then verse 6 also. So like in verse 2, Krishna says that no one, neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulence, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. So then no one can say that anyone is higher than Krishna in this sense, because you can see here Krishna saying that even the demigods don't know who Krishna is really, because it's like a son doesn't know fully about the father without being told. So similarly, without Krishna telling us about him, we cannot understand him. And then also in the Prabhupada says that Krishna is highlighting the fact that no one is greater than him and he's the cause of all causes. So so scientists, they try to understand God, but wait, it's in the first paragraph.
Okay.
Yeah. So it says scientists try to understand God, like the scholars, they try to understand Krishna, but then if the demigods can't understand them, then how will the so-called scholars try to understand Krishna? So that was one, and that then in connection to verse 2 comes verse 6, that the seven great sages and before them the four other great sages. So basically, Krishna saying that he's the origin of all the sages, and here he's talking about how the Manus also came, like the people, the progenitors of mankind, how they also came, but they all come from him ultimately. So he's telling to us that here, and he's all, as you said, also verse 4 and 5. That's also a connection to both of these. That is showing that everything has been created by Krishna, and it's not something that, like how they said Big Bang. It's not something like that.
These are such great reflections that you gave us today. And it's very impressive that we're analyzing these texts one by one, but when you're able to connect them like that, when you're able to connect 3, 4 different verses like you just did, it really, I can appreciate it so much, it's really nice to always remember that. I mean, I loved how you said, I was just thinking about how much I don't know about my father, because of course he comes before me. How can I say that I'm greater than him, or that I came before him, right? And so similarly, it's such a great way to think about how, we can't put anyone above Krishna. He's the source of everyone and everything. So thank you so much. All right, Nitai.
Okay, so I think it explain it first. So Krishna is saying he's just like he's Paramatma, he's in all the soul, in every being. So he he has, like, because that also tells us that he's Bhagavan, because he's present in everyone. So so like, so that means he's proving also that he's God.
Sorry, Nitai. The ending was a little unclear for me. Can you come closer and say it again?
Okay, so uh he's like, he's telling he's God. So he's like, like he's giving an example, he's present in everyone. So that's how he proved also that he's God. Like,
That's a great point, And what else? What else did you have to? Sorry, did I cut you off? Yeah, okay. That's a great point, because who else can be in everyone other than God himself, right? Sometimes I really liked how you brought up the proof being the existence of Paramatma. Sometimes, I know that in our practice we have to see Paramatma in everyone and everything, but sometimes I struggle with that. If I let my emotions come over me, sometimes I don't realize that the bugs that are crawling around me also have Krishna in them, or the people around me even. And so to remember this, and to remember why Krishna is Krishna, is or why Paramatma is in everybody, is it helps me at least keep my emotions in check many times. All right, Arav, please.
Hare Krishna. The
Hare
ninth verse
Krishna.
of this chapter is the Madchitta Matgata Prana. It highlights the activities of a pure devotee. So it says the devotees like to talk about talk about Krishna, and they get very good satisfaction from him. This is what Lord Chaitanya did. He would listen to so much Bhagavatam, he would do so much kirtan, and then so we get to see that Lord Chaitanya is a pure devotee by this verse also. And this verse highlights what we should be doing also, conversing about Krishna rather than like whatever's going on that's random, like uh sport, like maybe politics, sports, like this stuff.
You're so right. I mean, the things that you mentioned, these mundane things that so many people are interested in, they change so rapidly, so much. It's no good for us. It's not our business. There's a story of once Prabhupada back in the day, his devotees wanted to form a political party, his first initial disciples. And he said, okay, just because Prabhupada, he wanted to do anything and everything. He's willing to do everything to spread the movement, right? But after his devotees joined politics and created a party and tried uh, running for office, Prabhupada realized that these devotees were focused less on devotional service, less on serving the movement, and more on themselves. And they got carried away in all the politics of the mundane world. And so he brought them back. He said, this is not a good idea anymore. And so Prabhupada tells us to stay away from these things. In fact, there's a quote. I'm not exactly remembering the one, but it's not our business, is what his words are when it comes to these things. It's only Krishna is our only business. So thank you for bringing that up. And also the example of Lord Chaitanya. I mean, yeah, that was great. Okay, Akshaj, please share.
Yeah, in takes 4 to 5, I was just thinking about a class I was hearing about. We shouldn't be like too happy or like too sad. Like we should always accept like everything that comes to us as it is. Like not go through too many emotions. Just like not get over too happy when something good happens to us or like when something bad happens to us. We should just like accept it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, it's text 4 and 5, they showed me how intricately and how special we are made. And a byproduct of that is Krishna gives us so many emotions so that we can experience. I mean, we were able to experience life in a way no other life form is able to. We're so lucky to have this human life. But something that comes with that is the fact that we have so many emotions that we need to control and channel properly to use in Krishna service. And that's always a challenge. I mean, for me especially, not getting too happy or too sad about things. I think it's something many of us can relate to. So text 4 and 5 really help contextualize that. Yeah. Okay. These were some great realizations. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Next on our program is Prabhupada Lilamrita reading. Does anyone by chance happen to know where we stopped last time? And if anyone does, then we'll be able to pick up from there. If not,
I think they were printing the Bhagavatam, the second part. I think inside the
okay.
book. I
All
forgot
right.
what chapter that is.
All right. I'm opening it up and we'll find it right away.
Or I think he had been talking with the Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, I think, it, when we last left off.
Okay. I did see where we last left off. Like I read that part, but I'm not sure which chapter it is. Um, but I'm gonna spend some time finding it right now. Sorry about this, everybody. All right, I found the chapter. I'll share my screen and uh please let me know where exactly we can pick up from. So here's where Prabhupada has met Lal Bahadur Shastri. Does this
Little
look
bit
familiar?
Yeah, a little bit after this, I think. Yeah, I think here. Yeah,
Okay.
here, I think.
Would we should we start? Well, where do you think we should start? Would you like to start us off today?
I think it's a little bit below this where we finished off. I remember reading this part. Uh, I think a little bit up now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there's like one paragraph where it says like where he wanted to stay. Yeah, I think it's the Bhaktivedanta Swami. That's where it just says
Okay.
that line.
All right. Um, would you like to start us off today? We can do, I think typically it's around 3 paragraphs each, but if they're like really small paragraphs, like one-liners, just feel free to read how much ever you'd like.
Bhaktivedanta Swami made his rounds of the institutions and booksellers in Bombay. He now had an advertisement showing himself with the Prime Minister Shastri, and he had the Prime Minister's letter and the Ministry of Education's purchase order for 50 volumes. Still, he was getting only small orders. Then he decided to visit Sumati Morarji, head of Scindia Steamship Company. He had heard from his godbrothers in Bombay that she was known for helping sadhus and had donated to the Bombay Gaudiya Math. He had never met her, but he well remembered the 1958 promise by one of her officers to arrange half-fare passage for him to America. Now he wanted her help for printing Srimad Bhagavatam. But his first attempts to arrange a meeting were unsuccessful. Frustrated at being put off by Mrs. Mortarji's officers, he sat down on the front steps of her office building, determined to catch her attention as she left for the day. The lone sadhu certainly caused some attention as he sat quietly, chanting for 5 hours on the steps of the Scindia Steamship Company building. Finally, late that afternoon, Mrs. Morarji emerged in a flurry of business talk with the secretary, Mr. Chokshi. Upon seeing Bhaktivedanta Swami, she stopped. "Who is this gentleman sitting here?" she asked Mr. Chokshi.
Um, 1 second. Okay. He has been sitting here for 5 hours, the secretary said. All right, I'll come, she said, and walked up to where Bhaktivedanta Swami was sitting. He smiled and stood offering namaskars with his folded palms. Swamiji, what can I do for you? She said. Bhaktivedanta Swami told her briefly of his intentions to print the 3rd volume of his Srimad Bhagavatam. I want you to help me, he said. All right, Mrs. Morarji replied. We can meet tomorrow because it's getting late. Tomorrow you can come and we will discuss. The next day, Bhaktivedanta Swami met with Mrs. Morarji in her office, where she looked at the typed manuscript and the published volumes. All right, she said. If you want to print it, I'll give you the aid. Whatever you want, you can get it printed. Should I do one more? Okay. With Mrs. Morarji's guarantee, Bhaktivedanta Swami was free to return to Vrindavan to finish writing the manuscript. As with the previous volumes, he set a demanding schedule for writing and publishing. The 3rd volume would complete the first canto. Then, with a supply of impressive literature, he would be ready to go to the West. Even with volumes 1 and 2, he was getting a better reception in India. Already he had seen the Vice President and Prime Minister. He had successfully approached a big business magnate of Bombay. Within a few minutes of presenting his book, he had received a large donation. The books were powerfully preaching.
Nata, please go. Oh, sorry. I thought, yeah.
was drawing near, and Bhakti Vedanta Swami was planning a celebration at the Radha Damodar temple. He wanted to invite Vishwanta Das, the governor of Uttar Pradesh, to preside over the ceremony honoring Lord Krishna's appearance. Vishwana had received a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, Volume 1, and had written a favorable. Though a politician, he was known for his affection and respect for sadhus. He regularly invited sadhus to his home, and once a year he would visit all important temples of Mathura and Vrindavan. Bhaktivedanta Swami asked Vrindavan municipal president Mandala Sharma to invite the governor to the Janmashtami celebration at the Radha Damodar temples. The governor usually accepted the invitation. Bhakti Vedanta Swami printed a flyer announcing on the occasion of Janmashtami ceremony at the Samadhi ground of Srila Rupa and Jiva Goswami, Shri Radha Damodar Temple, Shepakunj, Vrindavan. Audio Kirtan performances in the presence of His Excellency Sri Vishwanath Das, Governor of Uttar Pradesh. The chief guest, Sri E. Somaya of Bombay, trustee of Sri Ranganathji Temple, Vrindavan, dated at Vrindavan, Sunday, 31st August 1964 at 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Shri Rama. The flyer contained an advertisement for the Srimad Bhagavatam series to be completed in 60 volume versions to be on the occasion to be sung on the occasion Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Pada Kamala, the prayers to the six Goswamis, the other favorite songs of Gaudiya Vaishnavas were printed in Bengali as a song.
You did a great job. Thank you, Nita. Would anyone like to go next? All right, please, Mary.
Where do I read from?
You can read from right here.
Okay, thank you. The program was successful. A large crowd attended and sang songs to Lord Krishna and took prasadam. Bhaktivedanta Swami lectured on a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam describing the age of Kali as an ocean of faults that had but one saving quality, the chanting of Hare Krishna. After leading Hare Krishna Kirtana, Bhaktivedanta Swami presented a copy of his second volume of Srimad Bhagavatam to the governor and spoke of his plans to preach all over the world. The day after Janmashtami was Bhaktivedanta Swami's 69th birthday. A few days later, Bishwant Das requested Swami Maharaj to visit him at his mansion in Lucknow. It was a special occasion, and the governor had invited several sadhus and planned a kirtana program. He had invited a professional musical group who toured India performing kirtanas and gave recitals. One of the musicians, young Sisir Kumar Bhattacharya, was very impressed with Bhaktivedanta Swami. Sisir Bhattacharya. We were invited to perform kirtana in the governor's house in Lucknow. We had about 7 or 8 in our group. This was the governor's house, a big home, and I was sitting on the dais. I saw the governor, Bishwant Das, and beside him was a sadhu who was old but I thought was really strong. When I saw the governor sitting there, I came down from the dais and bowed down. Then I asked which subject he wanted to listen to. He said, "Let's have something about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." Then I said, "I'm very glad you selected this." About 1/2 hour we spent on Mahaprabhu's Kirtana, then we had dinner in the banquet hall on all silver plates with the governor's symbols on each of them.
Thank you. I can do the next few. We sat together, and I was sitting side by side with the same sadhu, and he introduced himself as Bhaktivedanta Swami. We discussed, and then the Swami presented me with a book, Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhaktivedanta Swami said, I am interested to propagate Krishnama and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western countries. I am trying to get some way to find ticket. If I get, I will go, and I will propagate Mahaprabhu's teachings. And he uttered this verse from Mahaprabhu. Prithivite acheyata nagaradi grama sarvatra prachara haibe mora nama. But I did not think he would actually be able to do it. But I did not think he would actually be able to do it because he was very simple and poor. The asterisk on that verse was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had predicted, one day my name will be known in every town and village in the world. With the manuscript for Volume 3 complete and the money to print it, Bhaktivedanta Swami once again entered the printing world, purchasing paper, correcting proofs, and keeping the printer on schedule so that the book would be finished by January 1965. Thus, by his persistence, he, who had almost no money of his own, managed to publish his third large hardbound volume within a little more than 2 years. At this rate, with his respect in the scholarly world increasing, he might soon become a recognized figure amongst his countrymen. But he had his vision set on the West. And with the third volume now printed, he felt he was at last prepared. He was 69 and would have to go soon. It had been more than 40 years since Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had first asked a young householder in Calcutta to preach Krishna consciousness in the West. Wow. At first, it had seemed impossible to Abhaicharan, who had so recently entered family responsibilities. That obstacle, however, had long ago been removed, and for more than 10 years he had been free to travel. But he had been penniless and still was. And he wanted first to publish some volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam to take with him. It seemed necessary if he were going to do something solid. Now, by Krishna's grace, 3 volumes were on hand.
Should I read?
Yes, please.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada, I planned that I must go to America. Generally, they go to London, but I did not want to go to London. I was simply thinking how to go to New York. I was scheming whether I shall go this way through Tokyo, Japan, or that way. Which way is cheaper? That was my proposal, and I was targeting to New York always. Sometimes I was dreaming that I have come to New York. Then Bhaktivedanta Swami met Mr. Agrawal, a Mathura businessman, and mentioned to him in passing, as he did to almost everyone he met, that he wanted to go to the West. Although Mr. Agrawal had known Bhaktivedanta Swami for only a few minutes, he volunteered to try to get him a sponsor in America. It was something Mr. Agrawal had done a number of times. When he met a sadhu who mentioned something about going abroad to teach Hindu culture, he would ask his son Gopal, an engineer in Pennsylvania, to send back a sponsorship form. And Mr. Agrawal volunteered to help this way. Bhaktivedanta Swami urged him please to do so. Srila Prabhupada, I did not say anything seriously to Mr. Agrawal, but he perhaps took it very seriously. I asked him, but why don't you ask your son Gopal to sponsor so that I can go there? I want to preach there. But Bhaktivedanta Swami knew he could not simply dream of going to the West. He needed money. In March 1965, he made another visit to Bombay, attempting to sell books. Again, he stayed at the free Dharmashala Prem Kutir, but finding customers was difficult. He met Paramananda Bhagwani, a librarian at Jai Hind College, who purchased books for the college library and then escorted Bhaktivedanta Swami to few likely outlets.
Would anyone like to continue reading? Or take the next turn? All right, I'll do another. Oh, please, Mike, please.
Mr. Bhagwani, I took him to the popular book depot at Grant Road to help him in selling books, but they told us they couldn't stock the books because they didn't have much sales on religion. Then we went to another shop nearby, and the owner also regretted his inability to sell the books. Then we went to Sadhuvela near Mahalakshmi temple, and we met the head of the temple there. He, of course, welcomed us. They have a library of their own, and they stock religious books. So we approached them to please keep a set there in their library. They are a wealthy ashram, and yet he also expressed his inability. Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to Delhi, pursuing the usual avenues of bookselling and looking for whatever opportunities may arise. And to his surprise, he was contacted by the Ministry of External Affairs and informed that he has no objection. His no objection certificate for going to the U.S. was ready. Since he had not instigated any proceedings for leaving the country, Bhaktivedanta Swami had to inquire from the ministry about what had happened. They showed him this the statutory declaration form signed by Mr. Gopal Agarwal from Butler, Pennsylvania. Mr. Agarwal solemnly declared that he would bear the expense of Bhaktivedanta Swami during his stay in the U.S. Srila Prabhupada, whatever the correspondence was there between the father and the son, I did not know. I simply asked him, "Why don't you ask your son Gopal to sponsor?" And now, after 3 or 4 months, the no objection certificate was sent from the Indian consulate in New York to me. He had already sponsored my arrival there for 1 month, and all of a sudden I got the paper.
Wonderful, thank you. And Nitai, you will finish us off today.
As his father
Sorry,
was
1 second, sorry. There we go. Almost.
As his father's request, Gopal Agarwal had done as he had done for several other sadhus, none of whom had ever gone to America. It was just formality, something to satisfy his father. Gopal had requested a form from the Indian consulate in New York, obtained a statement from his employer certifying his monthly salary, gotten a letter from his bank showing his balance as of April 1965, and had the form notarized. It had been stamped and approved in New York and sent to Delhi. Now Bhaktivedanta Swami had a sponsor, but he still needed a passport, visa, fee form, and travel fee. The passport was not very difficult to obtain. Krishna Pandit helped, and by June 10th, he had his passport. Carefully, he penned in his address at the Radha Krishna temple in Chippiwada and wrote to his father, Gaur Mohan Dey. He asked Krishna Pandit also to pay for his going aboard, but Krishna Pandit refused, thinking it against Hindu principles for a sadhu to go aboard, and also very expensive. With With this passport and sponsorship papers, Bhakti Vedanta Swami went to Bombay, not to sell books or raise funds for printing. He wanted a ticket for America. Again, he tried approaching Sumati Monerji. He showed his sponsorship papers to her secretary, Mr. Choksi, who was impressed and went to Mrs. Moraji on his behalf. The Swami from Vrindavan is back, he told her. He has published his book on your donation. He has a sponsor and he wants to go to America. He wanted to send him on a Scindia ship. Mrs. Moraji said no. The Swamiji was too old to go to the United States and expect to accomplish anything. As Mr. Choksi conveyed to him Mrs. Moraji's words, Bhaktivedanta Swami listened disapprovingly. He wanted him to stay in India and complete the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why could you stay? Finish the document.
Thank you so much, Nitai. Wonderful reading. All right, so now it comes time for just reflections, anything that we thought was very special from today's reading. And I can go first. I, just to get the conversation started. One thing I really liked, it was towards the beginning of our reading, was how powerful these books are. It's just the books themselves carry potency, and actually Vaisheshika Prabhu, who was a Prabhupada disciple at ISKCON of Silicon Valley, uh, and a spiritual master for many, one of his main points when he tells us about preaching is that the books sell themselves. The books have power and potency, and all we need to do is get them out there. And Prabhupada, all he had to do was show, I think her name was this Mrs. Morarji. He just had to show her these books, and within a few minutes, she said, "Sure, I'll pay for them to be printed and published." And that was it was nice to me to know that this trend hasn't changed. They sold themselves back then, and they still sell themselves now. It's very nice to hear. And another thing, it's less about the success, but actually about how many obstacles Prabhupada faced. It's one thing I really like about reading the Lilamrita is that we find out so much of what happened behind the scenes for us to be here today, learning about the Krishna conscious movement in the United States. Uh, if Prabhupada hadn't done all of this, if he hadn't taken all the hardships that we are reading through here, uh, we very well might not have been following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna consciousness. And it's very touching to have to be able to read all these things that Prabhupada had to do. He had to get so many visas, papers filled, forms filled, payments. And he lived at the temple. He's a sadhu. He doesn't have anything. So it was touching for me. Arav, please share.
There was one verse here. It was Prithvite Achayata Nagaradi Gram Sarvatra Prachara Ibe Moranam. So Prabhupada was able to help one step further into Lord Chaitanya's prophecy that the name will be in every town and village. And now every one of Prabhupada's gurus had helped in that because it was the order of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then must have been a goal of his guru and a goal of his guru. And ultimately, it was a goal of Lord Chaitanya, and then it was so we see the whole line of acharyas until the people now, and even everybody now, they're distributing books like Vaishnav Maharaj. They're preaching in remote places like I forgot who preaches, but there- there's there's a lot of people who go like Bhakti. Everything was he couldn't preach there, and it was like difficult. Like all these people were helping so much. Like Prabhupada said, "Don't be like mosquitoes close to me. Go out and spread Krishna's name."
Mhm.
It's just so
It's very nice. Thank you. I really liked what you were saying, and I was just thinking, look at us now, we're all from all over, different towns, different cities. I'm from uh Fremont, but right now I'm in Baltimore, and many of you are from Atlanta, and look at us all spread out. And another thing I wanted to point out about what you said is how Indradyumna Maharaj, he was in China recently where religion is banned, and yet he was there and he was preaching, and he had to do it he had to be very careful, because there's a history of our devotees getting arrested in places like these. Um, and so yeah, I loved everything you said. Akshay, please.
Yeah, I was thinking about how lucky we actually are to be able to like have Christian consciousness in America due to Prabhupada because he was like so determined just to go to New York. Like he even says like he used to dream about going to New York, like nowhere else, first just New York. So like without that, I don't know where we would be all be like today. We wouldn't be in the Christian consciousness for sure.
100%, 100%. It melted my heart to read that he was dreaming of going to New York. So many people dream to go to New York, but how many dream to go to New York just to spread Krishna consciousness and to do good for others? They want to go for themselves so many times, right? Yeah. Please, Haridas, share.
I was thinking like how Prabhupada he just met Mr. Agrawal, and then Mr. Agrawal was like, okay, my son, I can sponsor your trip basically. So it's like Krishna was arranging everything for Prabhupada because Prabhupada was trying to serve him. So he was arranging everything. And like otherwise, if you just say to someone that I wanted to go here, it's not like they're gonna say, okay, I'll give you this much money, you can go and come. You don't need to pay anything. It's not something like that. But it's basically Krishna is trying to help his devotee in every way possible. So he made it very easy for Prabhupada. And even then, it's not that it's very easy, but it at least became a little bit easier to have help from someone who he just expressed his statement once, and then suddenly 2 3 months later he gets a no objection certificate, and then he's free to go to the US. And similarly, like how he met Mrs. Morarji, and she was ready to sponsor his third volume of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1. So I think that was also kind of amazing that still Krishna was trying to help us devotee in that way also. Because again, it's not like anyone is going to publish your own book if you want. So it's like Krishna is trying to help Prabhupada in every way possible because Prabhupada is his dear devotee.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I agree. This is no mundane activity. It's something special that Prabhupada was trying to do. And because of that, he was empowered by Krishna. He was helped by Krishna in so many different ways. Yet still he faced so many challenges, but it's so special that, Krishna was able to help him through all these different ways and different people and connections. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Usually, I think the last part of Youth Jam, people will just be able to share reflections they have about their life, maybe not related to what we've done today here, but just anything they've been thinking recently, any thoughts about Krishna consciousness or anything really. And we can all just talk about it. If anyone has anything, they can share, but no one has to share. All right. Thank you, everybody. I want to please ask for your forgiveness for some parts of this program and, not finding the chapter and everything. I hope everyone enjoyed Youth Jam today, and we really hope to see you guys back again next week. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.